Hello and welcome back to a new chapter on vision, technology, innovation, and money. Today I'm going to interview Mr. Howard Finkelstein. He's an advocate that's located in New York. Good afternoon from Tel Aviv. Good morning, New York. Good morning, Howard. How are you doing?
Good morning, Ronan. Good.
Tell me, Howard, if you, as you may read about the podcast, we are talking about vision, technology, innovation, and money. And I realized that your story is, in a nutshell, you're going to provide the details information that by the end of the day, you are working with the startups over in New York, in the US, etc. So tell me about, first of all, I would love to hear about you and what you're doing. And if we focus on the question, if you can summarize in a nutshell, what is the main difference between an Israeli startup, as you may know, to a US startup that's located in the US?
Well, let me give you my background. I've been practicing for a very long time now, since 1980. And I've been in all kinds of contexts in terms of who I worked for. I worked for the government for a while, for the US government for a while. I worked in many large firms, medium-sized firms. And then about 15 years ago, I decided to stop working for other people and work for my clients. And I started my own law offices, which now have two associates and who work very closely with me, even though we were all virtual. And we represent startups. All of our clients are startups in one form or another, some older than others and some younger than others, but they all fit into the concept of startups. And we work with, our favorite startups are the ones that come to us when they're basically just born. And we help them along the way to do everything. And then, one of the things that, you can't see me, but I have a lot of gray hair. And that's something that founders and the people who work at startups generally don't have. And, I think that provides a value, that we have the experience, we have the breadth of knowledge. And I mean, I'm not passing myself off as a technology guy, but as a business guy. And I've seen businesses in all forms, because I've done work for, everybody from major banks to VCs to small companies, and I've seen a lot of transactional work, and I've seen what people get and what people don't get. And, we advise our clients in terms of where to go and what to do. And it's a lot of fun. I think I've never had as much fun in my career as the last 10 years or so in just representing startups.
So if you are representing startups, as you said, and you have a lot of experience, as we can hear, can you tell me, when a company, when those associates, those people, those teams come to you and say, hey, Howard, we would like to establish a new startup company. They're doing whatever, they have the vision, they have the technology, and maybe they have a little bit, some money that they collect from the family, friends, etc. Can you tell me by a hint, hey, Roland, this is something special. This is a diamond that's going to be, you understand my point.
I understand your point. It's an excellent point, because, again, I am not an expert on technology. I like to hear about what the results they expect are going to be, but I don't know if they can achieve those goals. But you do see, I mean, the founders I like are hardworking, but also have this spark of ingenuity and something different about them. Not, they're not standard human beings. They have something going for them. They like to do things in a different way and follow their own paths. And it's very important that founders do that, So yeah, but again, I can't evaluate whether these companies are going to change the world. I could only evaluate whether the founders have the stuff to get it done.
Oh, this is a good point. You said a very important sentence, that you can evaluate if they have the staff to make it done. From my point of view, in order to be a valuable startup or valuable company, you need to be, I call it the balanced triangle. It's meaning that I have the technology, I have the team, and I have the market. So once those 3 points are balanced, we have a triangle that can make me happen, make the company happen, provide a solution to a need. This is how I see things. From your perspective, from your experience, what you see, how you see it.
I think team is essential, but there are some people who are loners, and they could make it as loners, at least to a certain point in time. They can make it as loners. The problem is that, when a founder who's into the technology now has to think about not only fundraising and marketing, also, HR problems and things like that, and how to control their employees, that's bad. So you really have to, as you go from, solitary genius to a real company, you have to take along other baggage, and you have to have people to take care of work. And I'm saying, honestly, like the person who does HR should be working on their own to do the HR, shouldn't be bothering the marketing team or the technology team with their problems. Let the HR handle the HR, et cetera, et cetera. I find that the real differentiator in success these days seems to be marketing. Everybody could have an idea and everybody could put together the technology.
Oh.
Well, not everybody, but a lot more people could do that. But it's really getting it out to the market. And especially, I'm not only in a B2C context, but in a B2B context as well.
What, storytelling? To tell the story, right?
No, I'm talking about the hard marketing stuff, getting on social media, getting cold calling and going to conferences and things like that, but having the know-how to succeed at these things. One thing you can't do, and that, I know that from practicing law, you can't just hang out your shingle or your virtual shingle anymore and expect people to come. You have to do a lot of hard work to bring the bacon home. Well,
yeah, but because we have a Jewish sentence that says,
right.
God's help who is going to help himself.
Right.
So I see your point. But can you tell from your experience, what is the main difference between Israeli startup guys that, a team that come to you and say, Howard, we established a company in Israel. We have the product. We would like to open the channel now in the US market.
Right.
Can you tell, okay, Ronan, this is because of the culture, there is a difference between the Israeli culture, we have the chutzpah. And then the US culture.
I was going to say.
You're going to say it. Yeah, the chutzpah. Yeah, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
You don't need to translate it to English, the chutzpah, the Israeli chutzpah. But if I put it on the table, the difference, or to say, hey, guys, this is not the way that you need to walk or should walk in the US market.
I think Israeli, again, it's hard to generalize, and whatever, it's a small sample size. No matter how large you sample, it's a small sample size. But I think Israelis, by their nature, tend to be very independent and think that they really know the solutions, and don't look as much as American founders to other people for solutions. I've been involved with some Israeli companies that, you could call it bullheaded, or you can call it, it depends if you're successful. If you're not successful, you say that they were bullheaded. If they are successful, you say they were geniuses and they wanted make their own way. But either way, I mean, it's part of the territory that Israelis are, push themselves
Push themselves. We jump to the boat very quickly. Can you tell me about a little bit about your firm? What you are doing in your firm? Which kind of services you provide for Israeli startup or what any startups in the
So
nation?
for all startups, I mean, our theme is we don't want to do, an agreement here, an agreement there. We really want to represent the company as a whole and be part of their team. And when I say part of their team, we have, whether or not we're working on anything on a given day, we will have regular meetings with the team just to find out what's going on, and we could add our comments. It's a half hour every week or two, just to touch base and understand what they're doing and how we could add our value. We don't our model. We don't bill hourly billing. I spent many years billing hourly, and I feel that it's not a very fair thing to the lawyers or to the clients. And so we have a subscription model where we, to make a long process short, we really just evaluate what this company could afford to pay before it raises funds. And we sort of make an estimate of how long it'll take them to raise funds. And we say, fine, we are yours for 6, 12, 18 months for a certain fee, which will be a lowball fee. And at the end of that period, or when you raise your funds, then we will expand our fees. But meanwhile, during that period, it's basically, it's all you can eat. Whatever you need from us, except specialized areas. We don't do patents, we don't do detailed tax law, but we do, basically the things that startups experience in terms of legal needs. We talk about their HR, we talk about their formation, and certainly about fundraising and things like that, because that's really our sweet spot, fundraising.
Your sweet spot is fundraising. Very important now, those days.
Yeah.
Especially after October the 7th.
Right. Well, right. Absolutely. It's not just October 7th. I mean, that's not the only dynamic here.
No, of course. The reality is dynamic, and all the time we have a challenge to raise funds,
I know. Everybody has, that's a challenge. That's the challenge. That and marketing are the big challenges.
Raise funds and marketing.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. And I mean, look, things are cyclical, and there's, and again, technology is sort of pretty good these days in terms of AI, in terms of blockchain, very much sought after by investors right now. There are other things that are not as sought after. A lot of B2C businesses are not doing well in terms of fundraising, but we happen to be fortunate enough to have most of our clients involved in blockchain, and there are failures there too, but there's a lot of interest in blockchain right now.
Do you see, by the end of the day, this chapter is talking about on vision, technology, innovation, and money. And if I'm taking the last point of the headline, do you see from October the 7th any change of the wave that coming from Israel with as a startup nation, as startups come to your office and ask, hey, Howard, we need some assistance regarding fundraising, etc., or you want to leave it aside because what happened in the press it's what you read in the press. It's good for the fish for tomorrow, and it's not how things how it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know the answer to that better than I do, Ronan. But I mean, the fact is that it depends for the Israeli startups. A lot of it depends on how much of their personnel is available. Forget about capital. I mean, they have people who were in the army and who are not able to work. And I understand that there's a lot of sharing of talents there now among startups and things like that. And a lot of I understand some startups are looking outside of Israel for people to for people to fulfill certain functions. So it's not an easy time to be an Israeli startup, I'm sure, right now. But again, I think the people who have invested, I think, are sort of taking a laid back attitude and saying that we understand that you're in trouble, that you have problems now, and if we could fund you or if we could help you with personnel, they do.
But you said it's all about marketing. It's meaning that I'm not using anymore. I have trouble. I have problem. I have challenge.
That's it. That's
And
it.
let me pass this challenge by your funds.
Right.
It depends how you look. Can you share with the audience a challenge that you had in the last year with the fundraising, together with the startup, or with the startup, and any challenge that you had as a lawyer, and you provide a solution, not out of the box, something that was, hey, you need to think before you provide a solution for that.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I've had challenges in terms of people doing more fundraising than they needed because the money was there and giving away more equity than they should have. And people have realized that, when you offer, when you shouldn't be too involved. Just because your raise is going successfully doesn't mean that you should keep on going and building that money, because at an early stage you're giving that money. It's very, very expensive money that you're giving away,
That's
not
right.
expensive equity that you're giving away. So that I think that's something that's really I try to advise my clients not to take in too much. Sort of wait till the next round, hold your breath for a few minutes, and go to a higher valuation, basically.
But it's a tricky spot,
It's
because the money, it's just, you just need to move your hand in and get the money.
But everybody has to see that. I mean, people who, the analogy is people who mine for oil or for other goods. The oil comes out of the ground, but it's worth a lot less now than it may be worth next month or next year.
Yeah.
So you just have to be patient, and obviously you're right. You have to fund to your needs, but you shouldn't fund beyond your needs.
Oh, it's a good sentence. Very important one, to understand what you really need, and not, okay, I need it just to show it. And
Right. Right.
can you share with us something that after rethinking, after the thing was done, the process was done, finished, and you put your head on a pillow at night, you said, hey, I can have it in a better way. Oh, what happened.
I try not to second guess myself or second guess my clients even, because you can do that forever. You really have to look to the future. And I mean, I really try to present that vision to everybody I come in contact with, that you can't just go back to the past and say, I wish I had. You simply have to go to the future and say, sure, you learn lessons, but you don't regret. No regrets.
No regrets. Move forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to regret on a personal level, but not on a business level.
Oh, it's good what you said. This is very important for the Israeli audience that we have here, that there is the personal life and there is the business life, and you not mix it around.
That's right.
As I always said, it's nothing personal, my friend. It's just business.
That's right.
It's just business.
But it is personal. I mean, business is personal, and you find that all the time. That honestly, I mean, you've probably seen this as much as I have, that, a founder could be a genius, a founder could be a great organizer, but if he doesn't have a personality or she doesn't have another personality, it's not going to go anywhere
It's not
because
going to work.
you're
It's
going to
not going
see
to
that.
work. Yeah.
So, and the personal relationships that you have to cultivate as a founder or a team member, or a lawyer, it's really all about personality, and it's about liking, being likable to people, you know, and having a character that stands out. Those things are important.
Very important. For a startup, it's very important, personality, the team, and etc. And you said you indicate that one of the service that you are not providing is IP, patent, etc.
Yeah,
Why not?
because, well, the US, you have to be, it's a specialty, and you have to be licensed as a specialty, and there's a lot of scientific knowledge that goes into it, and there's also a lot of litigation, which we don't do. We don't do litigation either.
Okay.
So patent work goes out to some very, really, really good specialists. And I mean, I wish I had a patent lawyer working for me, because there's a lot of opportunities. But right now, we do without that. It's just too much.
Good. Okay. So but it's good what you are focused on, and provide a solution for our audience.
We do trademarks, and we do, copyright and stuff like that, but not patents.
Not patents. Okay. Tell me, because if I summarize this chapter, 18 minutes, more or less, as I said, because by the end of the day, Israel is a very small country, and 18 minutes is the time that you take, time that you drive from home to your work, and vice versa.
I've seen traffic. It's not 18 minutes in a lot of places.
I know, but because we have a traffic problem here in Israel, but with God's helps, we will find a solution for that with the electric car or I don't know what. But this is why we are so special in our innovation industry. Tell me something, Howard. If we summarize that, how we can reach you. If you have a website, email, whatever, this is the time that you can share
Right, so
it.
we have a website. It's called HJFlaw.com.
Okay, and you can find all the details over
The
there.
email address is howard@hjflaw.com.
Good. And as I said to all of my in any chapter that I made in the last 2 years, I'm asking the last question, and it's very surprising question. Tell me something that nobody knows about you up until now.
No, I think everybody knows everything about me, but I'll tell you something that I did way back before I did startups, and that I did a lot of asset securitizations. And we did an innovative deal where we securitized the music royalties of a group called Iron Maiden.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
So you have a footprint, you have a fingerprint on them.
That's right. Well, that deal, fortunately, that deal came out to be a really good deal for the band and a really good deal for the investors, and everybody was happy. But I used to say that if the deal doesn't work out, the band's going to be playing in my bar mitzvah.
And now, where are they, and where is the bar mitzvah? It's a good one. It's a good one. Anything else, Howard, that you would like to share with us before we
I think, again, I think it's a very auspicious time. No matter the problems, I think this is a very auspicious time for doing things that are innovative and working the right way is building successful companies. I think there's so much. It's so much easier to do it now than it was even 10 years ago, and certainly 20 years ago. And there's so much more support in the public for it. And I think, keep on innovating, keep on trying, don't give up.
Don't give up. This is what we are finishing this chapter. Don't give up, guys. You know, it's symbolized everything here in the last 6 months that we have.
Absolutely. That's what I mean, I meant that too, you know, not just business.
Not just business. Howard, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure having you in this chapter.